Chapter 823, Fang Mo and Lu Baoyu. Did you encounter any difficulties when dealing with those new recruits? Did anyone with abilities far beyond the average recruit show up? Lin Chia asked the group. I didn't have any over here, and Qingyu replied. Neither did I, Chao Yuan nodded. Strange. I didn't encounter anyone either. Lin Chia thought for a moment and looked at Jialan. Jialan, how about you? Jialan blinked and pondered seriously for a moment. Nope. They're all pretty weak. There's no one I can't take down with 3 punches. So, if there are any undercover agents from the ancient god church among the recruits, they should still be mixed in with those large groups? Lin Chia nodded slightly. When we engage later, everyone be careful, don't mess it up. Got it. Lin Chia turned around and looked at the large playground under the night sky, calmly stating, this preliminary assessment should be coming to an end soon. Somewhere in the training camp, Lu Baoyu walked alone on the empty road, frowning as he looked around, confusion filling his eyes. Where is everyone? How come there's not a single person left? Weren't they just running around like headless flies? What on earth happened here? Lu Baoyu felt that something was off about this training camp. After hesitating for a moment, he pulled out a standard straight knife from beneath a warehouse that had been trampled, casually waved it and gripped it in his hand. Just then he seemed to sense something and turned to look at the intersection ahead. The ground trembled slightly as over 300 new recruits, armed with knives and guns, charged through the intersection heading straight for the playground. The battle intent was palpable. Lu Baoyu was taken aback by the killing intent in their eyes, and after a light gasp he immediately chased after them. Hey, wait a minute. What happened? At the tail end of the new recruits, Ding Chongfeng, Su Yuan, and Xin Qingzhu heard the voice and slowed their pace. Seeing Lu Baoyu standing alone with a knife outside, some recruits were about to step forward to say something, but Ding Chongfeng abruptly stopped them, his eyes filled with vigilance as he looked at Lu Baoyu, who wasn't wearing a recruit uniform but was holding a knife. Something's not right. Why is there still someone wandering around alone? And he doesn't look like a recruit. Speak up. I'm asking you a question. Who are you? Me? I'm Lu Baoyu, I'm also a recruit. You're a recruit, so why aren't you wearing the recruit uniform? Which dormitory are you from? Who are your roommates? This series of questions left Lu Baoyu stunned. He sighed helplessly and replied, I had a little accident and haven't had the chance to complete my recruit registration. Upon hearing this answer, Ding Chongfeng's brows furrowed even tighter. I heard that this batch of recruits was supposed to have 612 people, but one recruit caused trouble outside of Beijing and was disqualified, Su Yuan recalled and reminded them. Ding Chongfeng began to ponder. At that moment, a figure slowly approached them. Fang Mo frowned as he looked at Lu Baoyu not far away. For some reason he felt an inexplicable hostility rising within him. This hostility seemed to have no origin, appearing out of thin air as if rooted deep within his soul. The appearance, aura, and everything about the boy in front of him made Fang Mo feel extremely displeased. The same situation occurred with Lu Baoyu. The moment Fang Mo appeared, Lu Baoyu's gaze was drawn to him. For no reason at all, Lu Baoyu felt a strong urge to beat Fang Mo up. Though it was their first meeting, the hostile glances exchanged between them sparked tension in the air. Who are you? What's your relationship with the Seraph? Lu Baoyu said coldly. And you are? Does it concern you? It does concern me. What? You got a problem with that? Just as it seemed the two were about to come to blows after only a few words, Ding Chongfeng quickly grabbed the eager Fang Mo, his gaze toward Lu Baoyu growing even more cautious. Sorry, but this is a special period and I can't verify your identity. Please keep your distance from our group. Once this matter is resolved and your identity is confirmed, I will apologize to you. Ding Chongfeng's thoughts were simple. What mattered most now was not to waste time on this inexplicable person but to protect the town suppression monument as quickly as possible, or the consequences would be dire. Lu Baoyu frowned at the wary recruits around him and sneered. It's as if I have to follow you guys. How narcissistic. Lu Baoyu turned and walked alone into the darkness. I'm perfectly fine on my own. Watching Lu Baoyu's figure disappear from view, Ding Chongfeng and the others finally breathed a sigh of relief. Let's hurry and catch up with the main group. They should be reaching the playground soon. Soon the recruits all arrived at the vast, dimly lit playground. Seeing that the people from the ancient god church hadn't arrived yet, Ding Chongfeng let out a sigh of relief. Beneath this playground lay the town suppression monument that suppressed the boundary. As long as they held their ground here, the ancient god church wouldn't be able to lift the boundary suppression. With their nearly 300 people working together, he didn't believe they would lose. Quick! Those with defensive abilities set up a defense line here. They should be coming soon, Ding Chongfeng commanded, quickly organizing the setup. What about the group we sent to get the communication devices? Have they returned? Su Yuan asked with a frown. They're back. Ding Chongfeng smiled bitterly, pulling out a few phones from his backpack. But this cursed place has no signal at all. The phones can't connect. When they entered the training camp, all recruits had to hand over their communication devices for safekeeping in the warehouse. When Ding Chongfeng first realized that something might be wrong, he sent someone to retrieve the phones. Although they successfully brought them back, there was no signal available. These phones were still just scrap metal. It's okay. Su Yuan's eyes lit up. My roommate Inisha's ability is to manipulate communication signals. She can connect these phones to a signal. Upon hearing this, the many recruits present suddenly became excited. So, we can contact the outside? We can immediately relay the situation here and have the night watchers send reinforcements. Exactly. This way we'll be saved soon. Meanwhile, Shin Qingzhu watched this scene with a faint smile. How naive. Su Yuan handed one of the phones to a girl with a bun hairstyle, whose eyes glowed faintly as her ability slowly activated. The phone in her hand quickly connected to an external signal. Chapter 824. The Counterattack of the New Recruits. Seeing the full signal grid, the new recruits couldn't help but cheer. I know a night watchman and I have his number. One of the new recruits stepped forward and began to report the phone number. Su Yuan quickly dialed the number. She put the phone on speaker and everyone gathered around. After a brief ringing, a lazy voice came through the line. Hello? Who is this? Hello. I'm a new recruit of this batch of night watchmen. My name is Su Yuan, my number is XXXXXX, and I'm using this phone to send a distress signal. Su Yuan spoke calmly. Please immediately notify the Night Watch headquarters that the training camp has been occupied by members of the ancient God Church. They have killed the instructors and are now preparing to open the seal of the town ruins monument to kill us. Please send support immediately. The voice on the other end slightly raised. How many of them are there? Su Yuan was taken aback. Currently known, there are about 4. That's too few. What do you mean too few? You've underestimated their numbers. The voice chuckled. We have a total of 7 people. All the new recruits froze in place. You cannot escape from our grasp. On the other end of the line, the lazy man's voice shifted to that of a crisp young girl, exuding a chilling murderous intent. At the same time, the bag of phones that the new recruits had brought out lit up simultaneously. Dense black and white static swirled across all the phone screens. The girl's voice, in a mechanical and eerie tone, echoed from all the phones, as if countless demons were whispering in everyone's ears. You cannot escape from our grasp. You cannot escape from our grasp. Su Yuan's face turned pale and the phone in her hand fell to the ground. Crack. A blood-red lightning bolt streaked across the sky, and at the entrance of the playground, in the shadow of the streetlights, 5 figures slowly emerged from the darkness. A man wearing a Sun Wukong mask wielding a snow-white long knife, a chubby man with a Zhu Beiji mask, a woman with a red boy mask, a man with a Sha monk mask holding a knife, and a man carrying a black coffin on his back. When they appeared, the night sky seemed to grow even darker. Lu Baoyu, who had been standing on a nearby rooftop with binoculars focused on the playground, furrowed his brow slightly. Why are there 5 inexplicable people appearing? Is this part of the assessment? Or are they enemies? By the way, why haven't I seen the instructors yet? Lu Baoyu's gaze fell on the terrified faces of the new recruits, lost in thought. The new recruits watched the 5 approaching figures, nervously swallowing. Although they knew they had the advantage in numbers, facing a group of demons from the ancient God Church still inevitably stirred feelings of fear. They're coming. Ding Chongfeng stood at the front, took a deep breath and shouted, Brothers! This is our last chance. Let's fight them. Fight! Shin Qingzhu shouted back at Ding Chongfeng. Let's take them down. We are the strongest batch of new recruits in Daxia. Damn it! Go! Fight them! With the rhythm set by the two, the burning fighting spirit in the hearts of the new recruits reignited. They fixed their eyes on the 5 figures, charging forward like righteous partners ready to punish evil, each one fearless and rushing ahead. Nearly 300 new recruits surged toward Lin Chia and the others. Everyone be careful. Lin Chia lowered his voice. Lin Chia's warning was not just about avoiding accidents but also to be wary of potential members of the ancient god church hidden among the crowd. After the initial dispersal of the new recruit group and picking them off one by one, the total number of new recruits in the training camp had dropped from 611 to less than 300. This number posed little threat to Lin Chia and his companions, who could exert their pool realm strength. As long as they dealt with a few exceptionally powerful individuals, they could easily suppress the other new recruits. Are we finally going to start crushing them? Bai Li Pangpang chuckled, reaching into his pocket. In the next moment, 5 or 6 glowing forbidden items appeared around him, protecting him closely, their brilliance dazzling in the dark environment. Several new recruits who had rushed to his side were immediately controlled by these forbidden items and were sent flying. Swish swish. 2 figures darted past Bai Li Pangpang, charging directly into the mass of new recruits. Chao Yuan tightened his grip on the hilt of his straight sword at his waist, a surge of murderous aura igniting in his eyes, quickly enveloping his body. An extremely terrifying and chilling presence radiated from him, his crimson gaze fixed on the new recruits at the front, a sinister laugh echoing in the night sky. Hee hee hee. This scene left the new recruits who had never seen the mad Chao Yuan dumbfounded. However, under the pressure of life and death, they gritted their teeth, overcoming their fear and fought with all their might against the mad Chao Yuan. After countless rounds of training and breakthroughs, Chao Yuan's control over the Black King annihilation within him had reached a whole new level. Although controlling the Black King at the infinite level might still be a bit challenging, once the realm was suppressed to the pool level, it became easy for Chao Yuan to manage these powers. Even in a frenzied state, he could still perfectly control his body and mind. Each strike, while appearing fierce and ruthless, actually avoided the vital points of the new recruits, merely knocking them unconscious and kicking them to the edge of the playground. Once the new recruits were sent flying, threads of spider silk shot out, wrapping them up like dumplings and hanging them from the branches of a large tree, swaying in the wind. Chapter 825. Agent. As for Jelon, her approach to combat was much simpler. Unlike Bai Li Pangpang, who was flashy, or Chao Yuan, who was imposing, she was like a drifting bouquet that flew into the crowd, strolling leisurely amidst the dense rain of attacks. When she encountered new recruits with higher combat skills or those from special forbidden areas, Jelon would simply exchange a few moves with them before knocking them out with a punch. If she found them to be average in all aspects, she would knock them out without a second thought. Such a straightforward and unadorned method of attack caused new recruits to fall in large numbers around her. She resembled an emotionless hammering machine, swiftly clearing a vacuum zone around her. And Qingyu stood still, carrying the black coffin on his back. From the ground beneath his feet, countless frost vines burst forth, intertwining around him while engaging with various new recruits. And Qingyu calmly adjusted his glasses. Beneath the pale lenses, his eyes emitted a faint gray hue as they slowly scanned the many new recruits. "Let me see where you are hiding," he murmured to himself. "Something seems off, doesn't it?" 3 members of the ancient god church, mingling among the new recruits, looked at the chaotic battlefield before them with strange expressions. These people don't feel like they belong to Lord Qianma, do they? Yeah, their simultaneous appearance indicates that it's not a tactical illusion created by Lord Qianma using time differences. They can only be avatars of Lord Qianma. But if Lord Qianma's strength is suppressed, how can there be so many powerful avatars? But didn't they say they were members of the ancient god church? If they're not Lord Qianma's, who could they be? Among the 3, the thin new recruit furrowed his brow in deep thought for a long time, as if he had realized something, his expression darkening immensely. "I think I understand." "What?" "They are not members of the ancient god church at all." "No way. If they're not one of us, why would they kill the instructors, deactivate the forbidden monument and destroy this training camp? How could they predict our motives so accurately? Can't you see? The thin new recruit pointed at the members of the Nightfall team. Their attacks seem fierce and deadly, but every move avoids vital points. They are only knocking out those new recruits and tossing them aside. From the very beginning, they never intended to harm these new recruits. I suspect that the so-called deaths of the instructors were also illusions they created, aiming to foster an atmosphere of impending doom to stimulate the potential within these new recruits. They were never members of the ancient God Church. They were merely using the guise of the ancient God Church to intimidate the new recruits, the true body of the Nightfall team. The more the thin new recruit spoke, the more anger flared in his eyes. The feeling of being toyed with left him quite displeased. Ultimately, all this misunderstanding stemmed from the new recruit team they were hiding in, which had not encountered any members of the Nightfall team. Otherwise, just from the leniency shown by the Nightfall team, they would have sensed something was off. Moreover, the fake corpses used to deceive the new recruits could not fool the eyes of these seasoned veterans. From the start, they had assumed that Lord Qianmao must have the upper hand, and they had been led by that expert Shen, completely falling into the opponent's trap. Are they really the Nightfall team? The inexperienced recruit asked, frowning. What should we do next? It's fine. From the intelligence we have, the Nightfall team is just disguising themselves as the ancient God Church. They probably don't realize we exist. We are still in the shadows, the thin new recruit calmly analyzed. Right now it's a chaotic battle. We just need to blend in with the new recruits, using our disguises to take down the Nightfall team one by one. We still have a chance to turn the tide. But there are only 3 of us. 3. The female soldier shook her head. Don't forget, Lord Qianmao hasn't made a move yet. Yes, with Lord Qianmao here we still have a chance. Moreover, we have this thing. The thin new recruit reached into his pocket, his fingertips brushing against something cold, a slight smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. I put a lot of effort into getting this out. In this situation, it has the power to turn the tide. The other 2, seeing this, seemed to recall something and their expressions relaxed. That's right. With that thing, even the Nightfall won't last long. It's him. Among the new recruits, Fang Yimou spotted the figure wearing a Sun Wukong mask, gliding like a ghost through the crowd, and his eyes gradually lit up. A certain golden energy flowing within him and deep in his soul emitted an unprecedented brilliance, as if they were reuniting after a long separation, filled with joy. Without a moment's hesitation, he stepped forward, charging straight toward Lin Chia. Boom! At that moment, a dark red streak of light shot in from the distance. It was a boy with 6 dark red wings on his back and a straight sword in hand. His crimson eyes fixed on Lin Chia in the crowd, and deep within his pupils surged an unprecedented anger and confusion. The anger stemmed from his divine ruins, while the confusion came from within himself. Lu Baoyu did not understand. Earlier, he had merely stood quietly on a distant rooftop, gazing at the battlefield here. However, when the man wearing the Sun Wukong mask made his move, the divine ruins and divine power within him stirred, compelling him to come here immediately, yearning for a battle with that man. The instinct ingrained in his bones told him that man was his nemesis. Killing him was Lu Baoyu's mission. Instinctively, Lu Baoyu spread his dark red wings and flew from the rooftop toward Lin Chia. Seeing the golden light flickering in the masked man's eyes, Lu Baoyu seemed to recall something, and a grave expression appeared in his eyes. That was the divine might of the seraphim? Was that man the agent of Michael? At that moment, the ancient and grand voice that existed in his memory echoed in his ears once more. Power comes at a cost. I can grant you the ability and potential to surpass all beings, but likewise, I need you to do something for me. Within 10 years, by any means necessary, find and kill the agent of the seraphim Michael. If you fail, 10 years from now, I will take your soul as the interest for borrowing power. So what is your answer? Boom. That dark red streak of light crashed heavily into the ground before Lin Chia, the terrifying might of the fallen angel erupting, causing the new recruits behind him to stagger back a few steps, looking at the scene before them in fear and confusion. The agent of the seraphim? Amidst the dust, Lu Baoyu's crimson eyes stared at Lin Chia's mask, slowly raising the straight sword in his hand. I have come to kill you. Chapter 826. Fang Mo's Identity. Underground. The instructors, busy recording data on the new recruits, were momentarily stunned when they saw Lu Baoyu falling from the sky. Lu Baoyu? How did he get here? Yuan Gang frowned and looked at the instructor beside him. Wasn't he supposed to be expelled? He was indeed expelled. Then he must have sneaked back. Chief Instructor, what should we do now? Instructor Hong asked. The sudden return of an agent who had already lost their qualification as a new recruit left the instructors at a loss, especially at such a critical moment. Yuan Gang maintained a serious expression as he watched the screen showing the boy confronting Lin Chia with a knife, murmuring to himself, "Entanglements between deities?" Yuan Gang knew very well that Michael and Lucifer were sworn enemies, but he also understood that Lin Chia, as Michael's agent, had not signed any contract. This meant that the grudge between the seraphim essentially had nothing to do with him. But Lu Baoyu was different. From Lu Baoyu's demeanor, it seemed his target was Lin Chia. Although the personal feud between the two angels had nothing to do with Daxia, Yuan Gang still did not want to see Lin Chia and this new recruit engage in a deadly fight. If it were in the outside world, Yuan Gang would not worry, as Lin Chia's strength could easily seal and restrain Lu Baoyu. However, the situation was entirely different here. Under the influence of the town ruins monument, Lin Chia's and Lu Baoyu's realms were brought to the same level. Coupled with the surrounding new recruits attacking, if Lu Baoyu truly intended to kill without hesitation, Lin Chia's situation would become very dangerous. Of course, Lin Chia was the captain of a special team, and in Yuan Gang's mind, if both used their full strength, the probability of Lin Chia losing to Lu Baoyu was very low. But very low did not mean impossible. Just like during that year's new recruit training, who would have thought that the esteemed captain of the masked team Wang Mian would lose to an unknown Lin Chia? This matter involved too much. It was better to be cautious. After hesitating for a moment, Yuan Gang picked up the communicator and spoke through the earpiece to Lin Chia. "Chia, you don't need to worry about Lu Baoyu. He has already lost his qualification as a new recruit. Let Jialan deal with him and directly eliminate him." On the training ground, Yuan Gang's voice came through the earpiece. Lin Chia, draped in a deep red cloak, stood quietly in place, looking at Lu Baoyu's eyes filled with murderous intent, his expression calm. The other members of the Nightfall team also had earpieces. Upon hearing Yuan Gang's words, Jialan immediately withdrew from her battlefield, transforming into a deep blue afterimage, rushing swiftly toward Lu Baoyu. "No need." Lin Chia suddenly spoke. "Jialan, you don't need to come over." But Jialan hesitated. "Obey." "Oh." After a moment of internal conflict, Jialan reluctantly stopped. After all, she was a member of the Nightfall team, and in terms of command priority, Lin Chia's words were what she had to follow. In Jialan's heart, she certainly did not think Lin Chia would lose, but if she could help him resolve all troubles in advance, she would not hesitate for a moment and would be very happy. But since Lin Chia told her to stop, she had no choice but to comply. In the chaotic battlefield, Lin Chia and Lu Baoyu stood facing each other, their gazes locked. One pair of crimson eyes brimmed with excited killing intent, while the other pair of pale golden eyes remained as calm as a winter lake, undisturbed. Lu Baoyu was pleasantly surprised. He never expected that the Seraphim agent Lucifer had instructed him to find would appear before him so quickly. As long as he could kill this Seraphim agent, he could fulfill his contract with Lucifer ahead of time and gain even greater power, a temptation that was irresistible for a child of his age. "Do you know who I am?" Lin Chia slowly spoke. "Who you are has nothing to do with me." Lu Baoyu gripped his knife and decisively replied, "The deity I serve is the sworn enemy of yours. In the battle between the two angelic gods, only one can survive and only one of our agents can live. I don't know why these new recruits are attacking you, nor do I care about your identity. I only know that I must kill you to survive. I'm sure the Seraphim has given you the same order, right?" Before Lin Chia could respond, Lu Baoyu continued. "If you're a man, don't be so wishy-washy. Let's fight fairly based on our abilities." At that moment, a white afterimage shot out from the crowd, flashing like a shooting star in front of Lu Baoyu. Speed was astonishing and silent. By the time Lu Baoyu noticed, it was already right in front of him. It was a snow-white cat with heterochromatic eyes. In the night sky, the cat quickly morphed into a boy of similar age to Lu Baoyu. With a swift motion, he flipped his palm, and a short knife shot toward Lu Baoyou's throat like lightning. Decisive, resolute, and without reservation. This was not a trial, nor was it a spar. His first move was a fight to the death. He wanted Lu Baoyou's life. You? In a critical moment, Lu Baoyou's eyes erupted with a blinding crimson light. The short knife, rapidly enlarging in his vision, began to decay at an astonishing speed. Lu Baoyou quickly raised his arm and braced himself with his elbow to withstand the blow. The already decayed short knife struck Lu Baoyou's arm, leaving only a shallow cut. Anger surfaced on Lu Baoyou's face as he swung the straight knife in his right hand down toward Feng Mo's head. The latter's short knife had decayed and shattered, forcing him to nimbly retreat. The distance between the two widened. Feng Mo, holding the broken knife handle, stood in front of Lin Chia, his eyes sharp as he gazed at the furious Lu Baoyou, speaking calmly. What do you think you are? Do you think you deserve to compete fairly with Lord Chia? If you want to fight, I'll fight you. If you want to play for your life, I'll engage in a life-and-death struggle with you. Feng Mo's sudden appearance stunned both Lin Chia and Lu Baoyou. Lin Chia looked at the back of this boy, and for some reason the immortal realm within him suddenly stirred, a sense of inexplicable familiarity flooding his heart. It seemed there was some connection between him and this boy. Lin Chia instantly thought of the mysterious boy that Qingyu had mentioned, who was suspected to be his son. If he hadn't confirmed that he was still a virgin, he might really think there was some blood relation between them. No, even if it were a blood relation, it wouldn't evoke such a strong feeling. Who are you? Lin Chia asked in confusion. Feng Mo turned around, his eyes gazing at Lin Chia for a moment. He slowly lowered his head and respectfully half-knelt on the ground. Feng Mo, a descendant of the Tsongnan, pays respects to Lord Chia. Chapter 827. The Survivors of Tsongnan. Feng Mo's action left Lu Baoyou, the members of the Nightfall team, and the instructors secretly observing the scene dumbfounded. What is going on with this batch of new recruits? This situation is really hard to understand, huh? Tsongnan survivors? Upon hearing these 4 words, Lin Chia seemed to recall something, and a look of surprise appeared in his eyes. You were born in Tsongnan? Tsongnan is Lin Chia's hometown, and it is also the mortal realm he created using the divine power of the Seraph. 15 years ago, an outer god used Shiva's wrath to directly erase everything in Tsongnan city. As a survivor, Lin Chia carried the mortal realm of the Seraph and used miracles to prolong the life of this city. The deceased beings returned, the destroyed buildings were reshaped, and in that miraculous divine kingdom, all destruction seemed as if it had never happened. Until 10 years later, the day when the divine power in the mortal realm was exhausted. Tsongnan city vanished into golden light, disappearing between heaven and earth, and along with it, the residents of Tsongnan city who had been saved by miracles also disappeared. However, during these 10 years, the descendants of the residents saved by miracles were completely transcendent from the existence of the mortal realm. Even though the entire city had vanished, these children still survived. This was the 10 years of bloodline continuation that Lin Chia brought to Tsongnan city. And the children born during these 10 years who were born and raised in miracles were also referred to as the generation of miracles. Their parents existed because of miracles, and when they were in their mother's wombs, the blood flowing in their bodies, the flesh that shaped their bodies, and the souls that were born all carried the aura of miracles. This is also why Lin Chia felt this boy was so familiar. The boy truly had Lin Chia's power and aura flowing within him. He existed because of Lin Chia. This relationship transcended mere blood ties and was a much closer connection. That's right. Feng Mo looked up at Lin Chia. My name is Feng Mo. The day after Tsongnan was erased, which was also the day Lin Chia relied on the mortal realm to restart Tsongnan. Why is the power of miracles within you so rich? Lin Chia asked in confusion. When I was in Tsongnan, I also encountered other children born within 10 years. The miracle aura in them was very weak, almost undetectable. My master said I was born on the 2nd day after Tsongnan was erased, so the power of miracles on me is particularly rich, Feng Mo replied. Moreover, through my master's guidance and cultivation, the power of miracles has been continuously refined, so it has become even richer. The 2nd day after Tsongnan was erased was also the day Lin Chia relied on the mortal realm to restart Tsongnan. At that time, everything in Songnan City was reorganized by the power of miracles, not weakened by the passage of time. It was indeed at its most prosperous moment. Lin Chia pondered. Your master? Who is your master? Upon hearing this question, Feng Mo's expression became serious. He lowered his voice and respectfully replied, My master is the true monarch of pure source, Qingyin Yangjian. Yangjian. Upon hearing these two words, Lin Chia was momentarily stunned before he realized. This child is Yangjian's disciple? He is a disciple of the great Xia god? At this moment, Lin Chia did not know what the name Yangjian represented, nor did he understand the familiar person behind these two words. Get away from me. Lu Baoyu glared at Feng Mo and coldly said, Once I settle my grievances with him, I'll come back to kill you. Feng Mo frowned, turned and stood in front of Lin Chia, resolutely stating, I said, you are not worthy of making Lord Chia take action. You. Lu Baoyu was enraged. At that moment, Lin Chia reached out and gently patted Feng Mo's shoulder. Feng Mo was taken aback and turned to see Lin Chia smiling slightly at him. Child, step behind me. This is my conflict with him. Let me handle it myself. Without waiting for Feng Mo to respond, Lin Chia stepped forward, placing him behind himself. Since you want to kill me so badly, I'll give you a fair chance to fight. Lin Chia unfastened the vanbai at his waist and casually tossed it to Feng Mo behind him. He clasped his hands in the air and two familiar magic circles opened, with a pair of straight blades landing steadily in his hands. Draped in a deep red cloak, stepping into the night, he calmly walked toward Lu Baoyu holding dual blades. Same realm, same weapons. I will only use the mortal realm to fight you. Lu Baoyu understood the first two sentences, but he did not realize what only using the mortal realm meant. Good. Upon hearing this, Lu Baoyu's fighting spirit reignited. He scanned the surrounding new recruits who were watching eagerly and frowned, speaking ominously, You bunch of trash, get back. I said it's a fair duel. If any of you dare to sneak attack him while we are fighting, even if I win, I will chop off your heads. Get lost. With that last sentence, Lu Baoyu infused a hint of fallen angel's authority into his voice. A crimson light burst from his eyes, and the overwhelming pressure made the surrounding new recruits involuntarily swallow hard and step back several paces. In the center of the chaotic training ground, a spacious area opened up. Lin Chia raised an eyebrow. Come. He spoke calmly. Boom. Behind Lu Baoyu, a pair of dark red-winged shadows materialized, and with a powerful flap he shot toward Lin Chia at an astonishing speed. His speed was so fast that the surrounding new recruits couldn't react. By the time Lu Baoyu reappeared, he was already in front of Lin Chia, his blade gleaming. This strike, if it were any of the new recruits present, 95% of them wouldn't be able to withstand it. Of course, Lin Chia was clearly not among them. Through the mental perception of the mortal realm, and his terrifying dynamic vision, Lin Chia discerned Lu Baoyu's movements and the trajectory of his blade. He lightly shifted half a step to the side, avoiding the blade's flash, and then swung the two straight blades in his hands, creating a crescent arc aimed at Lu Baoyu. Lu Baoyu's dark red wings trembled and his figure quickly soared into the sky. At the same time, a strange glimmer flashed in his eyes, and the power of corruption attached itself to Lin Chia's two straight blades through the invisible forbidden void. Lin Chia seemed to sense something and suddenly released the straight blades in his hands. In the next moment, the handles of those two blades simultaneously opened wide, revealing two ferocious giant mouths, with dark red fangs gnashing at the air, producing a sound that made one's teeth ache. If Lin Chia had released the blades just a moment slower, his hands would have likely been completely devoured by the handles by now. Chapter 828. You did very well. What is that thing? I don't know. How does a straight sword grow two mouths? And it looks so ferocious. What a brutal and domineering forbidden ruin. Who exactly is that boy? The new recruits watching this unbelievable scene gasped and began to discuss among themselves. Meanwhile, the three members of the ancient god church mingling in the crowd exchanged glances, their eyes revealing shock. This aura. Is he an agent of the fallen angel? There's no mistake. This fallen power can only belong to Lucifer. The thin new recruit couldn't help but sigh. It seems that Captain Lin Chia of the Nightfall team is in danger. Why do you say that? The inexperienced recruit asked, puzzled. The Seraph's mortal realm is synonymous with miracles, but it is not born for battle. Therefore, unless one's own realm reaches a certain level, it is impossible to exert high combat power in actual combat. In stark contrast to the Seraph's divine power, the power of the fallen angel is brutal and violent, highly aggressive, and is an extremely dangerous forbidden ruin adept at combat. At the same level, the agent of the Seraph cannot defeat the agent of the fallen angel. I see. The female recruit nodded. It seems we won't need to intervene. That captain will be dealt with by his own people. But I have some doubts. The inexperienced recruit spoke up, somewhat confused. Lord Gu Huai once mentioned a secret. The more powerful the deity, the more their divine power influences the personality of the agent. Lucifer, being a deity of the same level as Michael, should have his fallen power affect the agent's thoughts and emotions, especially since the agent is young and weak. Under the influence of the fallen power, that boy should become extremely brutal, and his personality and thoughts would uncontrollably lean towards darkness. But why did he still choose to become a night watchman? The thin recruit fell silent. Either this child's self-control is extraordinarily strong, enough to maintain his true self under the influence of the fallen power, or he simply doesn't realize what kind of people the night watchmen are. He spoke thoughtfully. I lean towards the latter. He doesn't understand the night watchman at all. The reason he chose to join here was just a moment of impulse, and he hasn't encountered any other more suitable options. So, you're saying we have a chance to bring him back to the ancient God Church? The female recruit's eyes lit up. If we can bring Lucifer's agent back, that would be a great achievement. There is indeed a chance, but we need to handle the current situation first. The thin recruit said with a cold smile, the timing is almost right. We should seize the opportunity and eliminate that Nightfall captain first. Okay. I agree. 3 voices chimed in and the thin recruit suddenly froze. Why is there an extra person? He turned around in confusion, only to see a young man carrying a black coffin who had somehow appeared behind them, smiling as he listened to their conversation. And Qingyu adjusted his glasses, the gray light in his eyes gradually receding, and spoke softly. So, you really sent someone to infiltrate? As the chaos began, and Qingyu fought against the new recruits while analyzing each one in his line of sight, trying to find any clues that might lead him to the members of the ancient God Church who had mixed in. Finally, he locked onto these 3 individuals in the crowd. Despite being in such a chaotic environment, they remained calm and composed, showing none of the tension and fear evident on the faces of other recruits. Moreover, the flow of spiritual energy within them was clearly different from that of the other recruits. Like Lin Chier and the others, they were also suppressed by the ruin monument. And Qingyu cautiously approached them from behind and happened to overhear their conversation about Lu Baoyu, his eyes narrowing slightly. They've been discovered. The 3 members of the ancient God Church were simultaneously startled and swiftly attacked Qingyu from behind. In the blink of an eye, a white shadow shot out from the black coffin behind Qingyu, darting into the body of the inexperienced recruit. The recruit's body trembled and his movements froze in midair. Qingyu's gaze calmly swept over the other 2 and he quickly retreated. At the same time, invisible threads wrapped in cold ice shot out from his body, weaving around them like a cage, isolating this battlefield from that of the recruits. Discovering the 3 members of the ancient God Church in the crowd was no trivial matter. The Nightfall team trained these recruits and certainly wouldn't go all out, but the ancient God Church was different. They wouldn't care about the lives of these recruits at all. Once the other recruits saw Qingyu fighting with these 3 dressed as recruits, they would undoubtedly rush in to help, and if he accidentally injured one of them, it would be disastrous. Thus, Qingyu's first reaction was not to engage with the ancient God Church but to ensure the safety of the recruits. Over there. Shin Qingzhu in the crowd turned to look in Qingyu's direction, his brow slightly furrowing. Brother Shin, the current situation isn't looking good. Beside him, Ding Chongfeng was observing the battlefield and analyzing the situation. Although that inexplicable recruit has blocked one enemy, the other members of the ancient God Church are just too fierce. Even with everyone working together, it's still a bit tough. I think we should. Enough. Huh. Ding Chongfeng looked at Shin Qingzhu puzzled. You performed quite well, I remember you. Shin Qingzhu said, Now you should go rest." Before he finished speaking, Shen Qingzhu struck Ding Chongfeng on the back of the head with a knife hand. The latter never expected that his most trusted brother Shen would suddenly attack. Caught off guard, he was knocked unconscious. Before losing consciousness, he vaguely saw Shen Qingzhu silently pull out a familiar fox mask from his pocket and put it on his face. Snap. The crisp sound of a finger snap echoed under the night sky. A blinding fireball whistled over the heads of the recruits, crashing directly into the area where the three members of the ancient god church were trapped by Qinyu's invisible threads, and the surging flames instantly engulfed their figures. Huh. In the midst of battle, Lin Chia frowned and turned to look in the direction of the explosion. 3 rats have infiltrated, huh? Lin Chia murmured to himself. Sizzle. A straight sword suddenly sliced through the air, carrying terrifying fallen power, slashing towards Lin Chia's neck. Chapter 829. The Power of Corruption. Having lost his weapon, Lin Chia could only choose to retreat. Under the perception of the mortal realm, Lin Chia possessed a combat foresight ability that could be described as prophetic. Coupled with years of accumulated rich combat experience, even without a weapon he could easily maneuver around Lu Baoyu. In his eyes, although Lu Baoyu appeared intimidating, his close-quarters combat skills and attack rhythm were no different from those of an ordinary thug. Lin Chia calmly sidestepped Lu Baoyu's slash, his hands moving like lightning. He seized Lu Baoyu's wrist with his right hand, using the force of the slash to push him away, while his left elbow shot up rapidly, delivering a heavy blow to Lu Baoyu's chin. His movements flowed like water, so fast that Lu Baoyu couldn't react in time. With a dull thud, Lin Chia struck Lu Baoyu's head, leaving him dazed and causing him to fall backward. Lin Chia followed through with a kick to Lu Baoyu's chest, sending him flying like a sandbag several meters away. Lu Baoyu fell to the ground on his back. In just half a second he scrambled back to his feet, his crimson eyes fixed intently on Lin Chia, filled with even greater fury. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with one hand and raised the other, grasping at the ground beneath Lin Chia. In the next moment, the ground beneath Lin Chia twisted violently, transforming into a grotesque giant mouth the size of a lotus pond, opening its bloody fangs and lunging at Lin Chia's body. Fortunately, as the ground began to twist, Lin Chia prudently chose to retreat, leaping sideways with force and narrowly avoiding the giant mouth's bite. At that moment, from the depths of the giant mouth, a long crimson tongue shot out like a python, flying towards Lin Chia, who was still in midair, and with terrifying momentum, it slammed him down to the ground. Boom! The deep red figure crashed into the earth, kicking up a cloud of thick smoke. Lin Chia slowly stood up from the ground, brushing off the dust from his cloak, his pale golden eyes gazing at Lu Baoyu in the distance. Realizing your shortcomings, so you gave up close combat and turned to using the Forbidden Ruins for battle? Lin Chia whispered in a voice only he could hear. You're a good seed. But unfortunately, your temperament still needs a lot of work. Lin Chia shook his head slightly, walked to the side, and casually picked up a grenade launcher abandoned by a rookie. With a flicker of his figure, he transformed into an afterimage and vanished from sight. Lu Baoyu gripped his straight knife, his gaze darting to follow Lin Chia's form. Unfortunately, Lin Chia's physical abilities far surpassed his own. Even while carrying the grenade launcher, Lin Chia moved with incredible speed. Unlike Lin Chia, Lu Baoyu lacked spiritual perception and could only rely on his eyesight to track him. Bang bang bang. While moving, Lin Chia raised the grenade launcher without even looking, firing 3 shots in Lu Baoyu's direction. This grenade launcher was specially made for the night watchman, reducing the explosive power of the grenades but converting it to a rapid-fire mode. 3 miniature grenades arced through the air, whistling down towards Lu Baoyu's body. Lu Baoyu frowned. The strange forbidden ruins opened again, and as he focused, 2 of the grenades twisted simultaneously, sprouting sharp beaks and fangs, transforming into 2 grotesque little demons that crashed into the ground. The grenades that had turned into little demons did not explode. Instead, they incessantly gnawed at the earth beneath them, emitting sinister laughter. However, one grenade landed right in front of Lu Baoyu. Clearly, this remaining grenade posed no threat to Lu Baoyu. 2 dark red wings reappeared behind him and he instantly soared away from the spot. As the explosion ignited, he retreated several dozen meters. I see. Beyond the roaring flames, Lin Chia observed the two little demon grenades on the ground, his eyes narrowing slightly. He hoisted the grenade launcher with one hand, drew out two straight knives that had been stuck in the ground with his left hand, closed his eyes and hurled them towards Lu Baoyu. At the same time, a faint golden light spread out, covering a radius of several dozen meters. Under the influence of the mortal realm, the two straight knives flew accurately towards Lu Baoyu. Lin Chia raised the grenade launcher and pulled the trigger 3 times in succession. Bang bang bang. 2 straight knives and 3 grenades surged towards Lu Baoyu like a massive net. Lu Baoyu's expression changed. In the blink of an eye, he seemed to make a decision, reaching out to grasp 2 of the grenades. The strange forbidden ruins consumed the bodies of those 2 grenades, instantly transforming them into the same little demons as before, falling helplessly to the ground. At the same time, Lu Baoyu, holding his straight knife, flapped his dark red wings and darted past the one surviving grenade, charging straight towards the 2 whistling straight knives. A miracle. On the ground, Lin Chia lightly snapped his fingers. Boom. At the moment Lu Baoyu flew past the grenade, it suddenly trembled and exploded before hitting the ground, erupting into a surging fireball that blossomed in the sky, sending Lu Baoyu, who was closest to it, flying amidst thick smoke, tracing a parabolic arc as he fell to the ground. Everything unfolded just as Lin Chia had anticipated. Through 3 observations, Lin Chia had essentially grasped Lu Baoyu's forbidden ruins ability. From the initial decay of Feng Mo's short knife into a demonic form, losing its sharpness and hardness, to the second transformation of the straight knife into a demonic form, losing its cutting and swinging, and finally to the third transformation of the grenade launcher into a demonic form, losing its flight and explosive capabilities. All of this indicated that Lu Baoyu's forbidden ruins had the ability to simultaneously corrupt 2 objects within his line of sight. Once an object entered this corrupted state, it would lose its original characteristics and be endowed with demonic traits determined by Lu Baoyu. So far, Lin Chia had only seen 2 different traits, decay and gnawing. Although he couldn't fully comprehend Lu Baoyu's abilities, the limitations of at most 2 objects and line of sight allowed Lin Chia to easily counter his forbidden ruins. From the very beginning, Lin Chia had not rashly used his own forbidden ruins but had instead engaged in a back and forth while observing Lu Baoyu's abilities. Now Lin Chia had thoroughly understood Lu Baoyu, while Lu Baoyu remained completely unaware of Lin Chia's forbidden ruins. This was also the reason Lin Chia could severely injure Lu Baoyu in an instant. Although Lu Baoyu's forbidden ruins were more suited for combat, he was still too young. Excessive aggression was not necessarily a good thing. Lin Chia had reached this point step by step, and aside from a degree of luck, his ability to calmly analyze any situation played a crucial role. Amidst the thick smoke, Lin Chia grasped the 2 straight knives that had fallen, and with a flicker of his figure he appeared before the fallen Lu Baoyu. Chapter 830. What right do you have? The close-range explosion this time, although partially mitigated by the dark red wings, still hindered Lu Baoyu's mobility. He staggered to his feet, but before he could steady himself, Lin Chia kicked him in the chest, sending him flying again for several meters. Lu Baoyu spat out a mouthful of blood and fell back to the ground. Lin Chia walked up to him, calmly grabbed his collar and lifted him into the air. "Why are you here?" Lin Chia asked flatly. "What?" Lu Baoyu frowned, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth as he was held in Lin Chia's grip. "I said, why are you here?" Lin Chia repeated himself. "Being able to become Lucifer's agent is indeed impressive," Lin Chia continued, staring into Lu Baoyu's crimson eyes. "But it seems you've forgotten your identity, forgotten where this place is." Lin Chia's right fist clenched and struck heavily against Lu Baoyu's face, driving him into the ground. "This is the Great Xia. You are a citizen of the Great Xia. You are also a new recruit about to become a night watchman." Amidst the swirling dust, Lin Chia's furious golden eyes burned like a pair of raging furnaces. "Do you think you can grow up safely, walk freely outside, and stand here arrogantly claiming you will kill a night watchman? Why? Because you have good luck? Because this world is supposed to be like this? Nonsense. It is because countless night watchmen are bearing the burden for you. Without those who sacrifice their families, freedom, futures, and even lives to protect the Great Xia, Your best outcome would be to become a human being worse than a pig or dog raised by the outer gods. Everything you have now is bought with the lives of countless night watchmen. Boom. Lin Chia pulled the trigger of the grenade launcher again, and the booming explosion shattered the shadow of the dark red wings behind Lu Baoyu. Debris flew and thick smoke billowed. Lin Chia approached Lu Baoyu in the pit, stepped on his chest, bent down and glared into Lu Baoyu's eyes, roaring. With someone like you, why do you stand here pointing your knife at the night watchman? Because Lucifer gave you power? Look into my eyes. Tell me, are you the agent of the fallen angel, or the son of night watchman Lu Baoyu? Lin Chia's voice echoed under the night sky, and the surrounding recruits fell into a dead silence. Lu Baoyu stared blankly at those furnace-like golden eyes, his whole being like a stone statue motionless. In the silence, Lin Chia suddenly pulled out the dagger from the ground, raised it high, and stabbed it into the earth beside Lu Baoyu's ear. Lu Baoyu was dumbfounded. He was the agent of the fallen angel, but after all he was just a 16 or 17-year-old child. He had power, but until today he had never been so thoroughly defeated, never been pressed to the ground and beaten while being held by the collar. Even though the power of the fallen angel constantly filled his mind, making him violent, cruel and arrogant at this moment, he still felt an unprecedented fear. In the firelight, Lin Chia's blazing golden eyes were deeply etched into his soul. Was he the agent of the fallen angel, or the son of night watchman Lu Qiu? Lu Baoyu's thoughts froze. He didn't really know much about Lu Qiu, about his father. This man who returned once every few years and stayed for less than 2 days might not be as close to Lu Baoyu as the uncle selling breakfast across the street. If he hadn't accidentally seen that document related to the night watchman, he might never have entered the door of the night watchman in his life. He didn't understand Lu Qiu, nor did he understand the night watchman. It meant nothing to him. As a child raised in a single-parent family, perhaps he didn't even realize that deep down, what he sought was merely a form of alternative recognition. He came here just wanting to join the night watchman and stand before that man as an equal, coldly sneering at him and saying, "Is it hard to be a night watchman?" However, he didn't know that the person he wanted to find was already gone. The recognition he sought would never be obtained. Lin Chia took a deep breath, slowly stood up, the golden light in his eyes receding like a tide, and spoke softly. "You don't have to answer me now. For your father's sake, I won't kill you this time. Get out of this training camp, go home and wait until you find the answer. Then come back to find me." Lin Chia waved his hand, and 2 daggers flew into his grasp as he turned to look in the direction wherein Qingyu and the others were fighting fiercely. At the same time, 3 members of the ancient god church had already engaged in battle within Qingyu, Jiang Er and Shin Qingzhu. In the same realm, bolstered by the power of the divine ruins, the combat strength of the 3 ancient god church members far exceeded that of ordinary forbidden ruins possessors. Even within Qingyu and the others teaming up, they could only fight them to a standstill. However, the members of the ancient god church had begun to realize that things were not looking good. Their identities had been exposed, and they were trapped here by these 3 members of the Nightfall team. If this dragged on, they would be surrounded by other Nightfall members and instructors, leaving them with no chance of victory. Most critically, Lord Qianma had yet to appear. Lord Qianma had always been the pillar of support in the hearts of the 3 ancient god church members. They firmly believed that as long as Lord Qianma intervened, the current predicament would be easily resolved. After all, the 3 oldest evil gods of the ancient god church held a high status in the minds of ordinary members. But at such a critical moment, why had Lord Qianma not made a move? Had Lord Qianma given up on them? Or had something happened to Lord Qianma as well? "What should we do now?" the female recruit asked, dodging in Qingyu's frost vines while frowning at the thin recruit. "If this drags on, we will definitely die." "I know." The thin recruit took a deep breath, pulled out an ancient-looking ring from his pocket, and held it tightly in his palm. The wall-breaker magic ring, when crushed, grants the wearer the power to break a certain order. As long as I crush it, I can break the rules under the suppression of this town ruins monument and return to my original realm. But will that really work? Once you return to Wuliang, the instructors will also lift the suppression of the town ruins monument, allowing everyone's realm to revert, and we will still be in a besieged situation. The young recruit spoke with some concern. Chapter 831. Immortal transfer. The activation and deactivation of the town ruins monument both require time, the lean new recruit said with certainty. To deactivate the town ruins monument, at least 20 seconds of buffer time is needed. In those 20 seconds, it would be as easy as pie to eliminate the Nightfall squad and the instructors, who are at most at the pool realm with the power of Limitless. This 20 seconds is our chance to turn the tide. As his words fell, the lean new recruit decisively crushed the magic ring in his palm. With a soft sound, a mysterious force of law enveloped his body. Under the suppression of the town ruins monument, his realm began to soar at an astonishing speed. Pool realm, river realm, sea realm. Limitless. At this moment, the recruit's aura underwent a dramatic transformation, dense dark energy rolling out from within him, instantly enveloping the entire training camp. He tore off the disguise of a new recruit, returning to his original state, cold, powerful, and eerie. He was a member of the ancient god church, the agent of the judge of the underworld, Rhadamanthus from Greek mythology, known as Dark Willow. The pressure of the limitless level suddenly descended. Underground. Lin Chia was right. Indeed, a member of the ancient god church has infiltrated among the new recruits. Yuan Gang's face was extremely grim as he slammed his fist heavily on the table. Damn it! How did these people manage to get in? I've checked the new recruit files sent from headquarters several times. There shouldn't be any issues. Chief Instructor. The realm suppression of the town ruins monument is ineffective against that member of the ancient god church, a shocked instructor exclaimed. His realm is rapidly rising. He's about to return to Limitless. What? Yuan Gang was taken aback and immediately stood up from his seat. Quick. Start lifting the suppression of the town ruins monument immediately. It's already being lifted. An instructor beside him quickly began to the restrictions of the town ruins monument. But it will take about 20 seconds to completely lift it. Jesus. Yuan Gang's heart sank. He turned to look at the figure of the ancient god church member on the screen, made up his mind and quickly ordered, all instructors return to the surface with me. No matter what, we must hold him off for these 20 seconds. No need, Instructor Yuan. At that moment, Lin Chia's voice came through the communication device, calm as he said, leave it to me. Yuan Gang was taken aback. Leave it to you? That guy is no longer under the suppression of the town ruins monument. How are you going to handle him? Yuan Gang shook his head decisively. Lin Chia. You must retreat with your team immediately and whatever it takes, protect yourselves. You are the 5th Special Squad of Daxia. You absolutely cannot die here without understanding why. Leave the task of holding him off to us instructors. Really, it's not necessary, Instructor, Lin Chia said with a helpless smile. They have means to ignore the suppression of the town ruins monument, and so do we. On the ground. What is that? What a powerful pressure. How could there be such a strong presence among the new recruits? Idiot, it's obvious he's not a new recruit. Didn't you see the divine ruins surrounding him? He must be a member of the ancient god church. Was Ding Gu and Shinji's guess correct? Wait, where did Ding Gu and Shingu go? But isn't there suppression from the town ruins monument here? How could a member of the ancient god church be this strong? It's over. This level of realm is simply beyond what we can handle. What do we do now? Run. Run. Where can you run to? Can you run faster than him? We can only wait to die. The remaining new recruits witnessing this scene turned ashen. The flicker of hope that had ignited was completely extinguished. Faced with such a being, their only choice was to wait for death. Lu Baoyu, lying in the deep pit, also felt the suffocating powerful aura. He struggled to sit up and saw the member of the ancient god church gradually ascending into the sky, his face pale. What the hell is that? Lu Baoyu muttered a curse under his breath. At that moment he caught sight of something out of the corner of his eye and turned to look in the other direction. There Lin Chia, draped in a deep red cloak, was holding 2 straight blades, calmly gazing at the member of the ancient god church. Beside him, a girl in a deep blue Han robe squinted her eyes, lifting the black box containing the heavenly gate. Chia, I'll deal with him. Wait. Lin Chia called out to Jialan. Jialan turned in confusion, only to see Lin Chia scanning the surroundings, glancing at Lu Baoyu behind him. After a moment of thought he spoke. Let me borrow the immortal. I'll handle him. Jialan was taken aback. Although she didn't understand why Lin Chia wanted to do this, she still nodded, reaching out to grasp his hand, temporarily transferring the immortal to Lin Chia. The immortal isolated Lin Chia from the realm suppression of the outside world, and his realm rapidly climbed, almost instantly returning to the limitless realm, releasing a pressure that was no less than that of the ancient God Church member. Lin Chia raised his hand, summoning a crimson magic circle, and the figure of Hong Yen appeared beside Jialan. Hong Yen, help me protect Jialan, Lin Chia said. If she gets hurt, I'll hold you accountable. Hearing this, Jialan's cheeks flushed with 2 shades of red as she obediently lowered her head. Rest assured, Dean, Hong Yen, dressed in a deep green nurse's uniform, nodded decisively, staying close to Jialan. Without the protection of the immortal, Jialan was just a fragile ordinary person. Any residual attack could potentially harm her. Even with such great risk, she still hesitated not at all to give the immortal to Lin Chia. Lin Chia would never let her get hurt because of this. Lin Chia looked up at the figure in the sky radiating terrifying dark energy, lightly curling his fingers. The white slash automatically flew back into his palm, and at the same time he stepped forward, multiple divine pressures descending simultaneously. Archangel Michael, Goddess of Night Nyx, God of Magic Merlin, God of Music and Poetry Bragi, Goddess of Life Eden, and the Great Sage Sun Wukong. The moment these 6 divine pressures appeared, the terrifying aura struck like a giant hammer, smashing into the chest of the dark willow in the sky. Boom! A dull roar echoed in the air. The dark willow, who had just regained his full strength, spat out a mouthful of blood, like a kite with a broken string, directly smashed down from the sky by this combined pressure. His eyes were filled with shock and confusion. To be clear, he was also a divine agent harboring divine pressure within him. Yet now, in this brief clash of auras, he was easily swatted back to the ground like a fly, with no power to resist whatsoever.